Hello, Visionary fans! It's me, Matthew, and I'm back with the final podcast of Visionary Survivor Season 11 Battle of the Century. It's been a fun podcasting season, finally bringing on guests, and today we have a wonderful guest for you all. We have the Queen of Rocks herself, fourth place in fans versus favorites as a fan, coming back and getting something like, 15th place.
Yeah, 15th place at
Wow.
Roxy. Here I come.
That was a great guess. I didn't, we have Epoxy here. Someone who
I
was
think I
my number one ally. I wasn't her number one ally, but that's okay. Uh,
I don't have number one allies. It's just like not a thing I do.
that's fair.
I just like decide if I like you, and if I like you, then we're good for a while. And if I like you, you might not be good for a while. Who knows? I don't know. Depends. But I loved my man Matt. Was very sad
Aww.
to was very sad to leave him early. I'm very happy that my man Matt worked with my girl Quizzy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
happy to be here.
yeah. Epoxy and I played together on season 10. This is season 11 for all you listening. Yeah, we have 6 votes to get into it. So let's just start. We last left off at the merge, and we were doing the podcast as a big fight between Annabeth and Bree kicked off, and sort of the game became divided into 2 sides. We saw Bree, Cove, Kenneth, and Triss on one side, and Crow, Annabeth, Anthony, and Ben on the other, and then that sort of left Craig and Hudson in the middle. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. What are your thoughts on this vote, Epoxy? Just in general, seeing Cove lead
This
here.
this was to me this was kind of utterly moronic. And I say someone whose full online name is Epoxymoron. But yeah, this was incredibly moronic, and the fact that I think, no shade to Bria, I think she played a great social game, and I think her like biggest strength was her was her social game, but her biggest flaw was her social game being like, I'm best friends with Cove. We're best friends together. Look how good of friends we are. And the fact that she twisted this as being good for her is like, I just don't think this elimination of Cove was good for Brie in the long run. Like, yes, I guess she got to keep her idol, which
Mhm.
I guess was like it saved. Did it save her at one point?
It does not.
Yeah, it did not. Oh, right, because of the whole idol blocker situation.
Yes.
Because, like, to me, I guess Bree does not know about the idol blocker, which we do. But, like, to me, if I'm Bree there and I know that Cove's going, I would rather attempt to play my idol, even though it would still be blocked there. Like, uh, to save Cove, because like if I'm Bree and I have already made me and Cove such a have such a target on my back, I would just like want to save him because I need him to also be a target in this situation.
Yeah.
So that was kind of moronic to me that she didn't at least play her idol. It would have been in vain, but like it would have been something.
Yeah.
Um,
I totally agree. I think the 2 main talking points. The first of which you already touched on is Bree's decision not to play her idol to save Cove, even though she knew Cove was the target. Uh, Personally, as Rich Robbie would know from season 6, I completely agree with you, Epoxy. I'm always a fan of play the idol. It's always better to play it in a situation where it doesn't matter than to not play it and have something bad happen. And I absolutely
yeah.
and I
As evidenced by me being idled out by an idol in my pocket at DD.org, season 6, rest in peace, Epoxy. The idol play that never happened, rest in peace.
so
But yeah, I am in the same boat with you there.
yeah, play your idol. And Cove again is an ally, a number, and a shield. And you know that Hudson and Craig, which I think is the second big talking point for this vote, are kind of in the middle because Hudson leaks the information of who the Annabeth side is targeting to Bree. So she knows that potentially Hudson and Craig could flip over to her side afterwards because they're kind of playing the middle. So if she idles out Annabeth here, then she can potentially flip Craig and Hudson over and have the majority. Uh, so I agree. I think that, I mean, obviously hindsight is 2020. So Bree, when you listen to this, I'm sorry to just we started this podcast off just hammering you, but it didn't turn out to be the correct decision, and it's unfortunate for Cove. Do you think Cove could have, if he wasn't so tied in with Bree, he could have been a more active player? I didn't. Sorry, Cove, but I didn't necessarily get a lot from Cove throughout the season.
I honestly think that as soon as Bree said we're best friends, then the season was done for him. He could not win. There was no way Cope was winning after that. And so, like, I completely understand why he was maybe not as active because they're like he has a target on his back from Bree. Um, that doesn't mean he can't, like, again, this is this whole resigning yourself to your fate, which I talked about earlier. But at the same time, I think, like, if I feel like Cove was there, was like, if Cove was there and was like, "Hello, Craig. Hello, Aunt. I would like to flip on Bree." Like right now. I feel like he would have gotten a lot farther from that merge brew. I don't know if it would have happened. Bree might play her idol, who knows, whatever. But I feel like that would have saved Cope there.
Yeah, I agree. I hadn't thought of that. I think that would have been a good, strong move from Cove. Uh, it's hard to know when it's time to go into that DEFCON 1 of a situation, throwing your, like, I mean, they were very close, throwing someone you're that close with under the bus, but clearly it needed to be done. Um, I wish we could, this was a good vote, but we got to go kind of fast. Let's jump to the second episode after the merge. Fuck. This is
Yeah.
I can't speak today. This is just going to be a bit of a mess.
It's gonna be a blur, sir.
Okay. So, as I said before, there was the Annabeth side and the Bree side. The Bree side is now down to 3. We have Bree, Kenneth, and Triss. Kenneth and Triss, obviously the only 2 Zoomers left in the game after the pre-merge pagonging. And we see Hudson and Craig flip back over to the Bree side and knock out Anna in a vote of 5-4. And this was probably my favorite vote of the season because 2 people so clearly playing the middle is pretty interesting. Usually you have a ton of people playing the middle, but in this season it was really only Hudson and Craig. So obviously playing the middle has a lot of advantages and disadvantages, and we'll get into that in the next vote what happens. But do you think Hudson and Craig were playing a good game, or do you think this was too obvious of a flip for them to do?
I don't think there's anything problematic about this vote from Craig and Hudson's perspective. Like, let's see, Craig and Hudson they both voted Annabeth. Like,
Yeah.
that's, and she left. Like, that low key benefits them. And they know that they have numbers probably in each other, and that just, like, I would say, if anything, they have to worry about a spited Bree here, and by voting with Bree, they kind of appease that for the time being. Especially, yeah, especially because, like, let's see, what was the vote? It was 5-4, 5-4, and an idle play in vain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think like that was really beneficial for them because now Kenneth doesn't have his idol. And
No, sorry. The idol comes out next time. And
wait,
works. I think you're
wait. Am I in the
wrong
wrong?
episode.
I am
I
in
think
the
you're...
wrong. Hello, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Goodbye.
No idols were
Never
played in
mind.
this second vote.
No idols were
merge.
played at the making of this video. Yeah, I think this was a good flip. Yes, TLDR.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Hudson and Craig put themselves in a good position. And in the next, we do see Hudson go home, which is sort of what I was going for from the idol play that we were talking about before, that we were a little confused about. But I feel like that's just bad luck in a way. Kenneth and Triss had that idol very well hidden. Kenneth and Triss are both very solid players, and idling out Hudson, even though no one else was targeting him, I think is just more of a really good move as opposed to a bad, sloppy play from Hudson here. So in the third vote, what happens is Hudson, Craig, Ben, and Crow, sort of that Annabeth group. Hudson and Craig flip back to Ben and Crow, who are working with Annabeth. Showing again that they had great ability to flip back and forth between sides. But we see Bree and Ant sort of left out in the darkness, voting for each other, and then Ken and Triss. Sorry, Ant voted for Kenneth for some reason. I don't know why he did that. We can talk more about Ant later as...
Ant's an enigma. But yeah.
Ant's sort of on the bottom here. So Hudson and Craig flip back with Ben and Crow, and then Kenneth and Triss pull off a great idol move to save Triss.
Yeah, that was like Ben, or sorry, that was just Kenneth going like, "Here I come, get on my dick," basically.
All right.
I'm sorry, that was rude.
No, it's okay.
But like this was great to see. Like I love a good idol play simply because I am ass at playing. Like I am absolutely ass at playing advantages. So it's good seeing like someone having enough game sense to like know. And I think in this situation, when you are in this much minority, like you know when you have to play that idol. And it was very good play.
Very good move, definitely.
Yeah.
So then, moving on to the next vote. Again, we're clicking through these. Thank you for the sound effects.
Sorry, great sound effects.
No, I like it. I like it. We can have you on as like a soundboard person to like...
Oh yes, please give it. Yes.
Next vote, we see Craig, who I think in many ways, I don't know if I've mentioned this already or whether it was before the podcast, but Craig and Crow have sort of been the two players of the season.
For sure.
And it's apt that Epoxy is here because it reminds me a lot of your game and Mufasa's games in Season 8, Fans vs. Favorites. The two of you sort of having slightly different games, but also being the two clear frontrunners and it coming down to the final immunity. I think this is a good move from Craig and Crow here, two people who haven't been necessarily on the same page, pulling in Kenneth and Triss and getting everyone to unanimously vote out Bree.
Yeah, this was a great vote, honestly. I liked this vote simply because we come back to, looks like Craig has an idol blocker. Hee hee.
Classic. Idol blockers are wild.
They're so OP. They're like honestly a little bit too OP. I don't know. But I guess they can only be useful if you are in power and know where the votes are going.
Yeah.
But
I think, I mean, I'm going to talk shit about Bree some more. Sorry, Bree, you're a wonderful player. You were so fun to watch. The fact that everybody you were just a little bit too open about everything. Everyone knew about your idol. Everyone knew about your friendship with Cove, and I think those are the two things that really led you to getting eliminated in this spot. Um, if you played this idol and idled out, I forget who you voted for in this spot. Let me look. I think it was Kenneth.
She voted for Craig. That would have
Craig.
been like, yeah, that would have been some BDE right there. Like, Bree would deserve to win this season if she idled out Craig. Like,
Yeah, that would have been a fantastic move. But the fact that everyone knew about your idol, I don't. We don't have to talk to you. I'm sorry for talking to you directly. But the fact that everyone knew about Bree's idol, sort of leads to her downfall in a lot of ways. I think the story of Bree is being a very fun, entertaining, great player who's just a little bit too upfront. She's not quite as subtle as she needed to be.
yeah.
So Bree goes out in seventh. Uh, we're down to the final six now, with
Yeah.
Kenneth, Triss, Ben, Craig, Ant, and Crow. And I said this in the last podcast. I forget who said it. It was either Gove or Maji said, you know, Kenneth and Triss are either going to be out at the merge or they're going to win the game. And then I said, to my credit, I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit. I said I can see them going in like seventh or sixth because of they have such a good narrative, with the pagonging and being the only two Zoomers to make the merge and having eliminated 4 straight boomers before they went home. Kenneth's target was just too big at this point. It would have taken a miracle to save him. Do you think there was any way out of like getting eliminated in these final 5, final 6 slots?
I really, really don't.
It's just hard.
Because let's see, if I'm Craig or Crow there, I want to take Ant to the end because he was virtually non-existent for the greater portion of the early part of the game and the greater part of the early part of the merge, and like is constantly needed to be fed information from Craig to literally succeed. And you can see by his interesting vote on Kenneth that one time that he maybe is a little bit out of the loop, which I think he's, to his credit, is very aware of in his confessionals. So like you can't fault someone who's self-aware. But if I'm Craig there, I want to take Ant to the end. And if I'm and I guess Ben is closer. I don't know. I truly don't know what's going on in Ben's life.
Yeah, I literally on my notes I wrote Ben Chaos and put that in brackets.
I had like question mark, but yeah, and I think what's quite fun or what's quite interesting is Triss comparing him to a houseplant and keeping up. Yeah.
I missed that.
Like if I guess Mans did not answer his confessional questions either, and it was just like answers to Ben on the Guess Who challenge. Like you probably do want, like, if we're judging activity based on that, which you can't necessarily, but like if you're Craig or Crow, you probably want one of Ben or Ant in the finals with you. And this is coming from someone who does have a goat fixation. So yeah, I just like don't think Kenneth could have gotten out of that. I think the only way he could have is if he went if he went to Ben and said, "You're not gonna win in finals, vote out Craig," maybe.
To his credit, I will say he did try to go to Ben. That is what he tried to do.
Yeah.
Ben ultimately ended up choosing to go with Craig, Ant, and Crow by throwing his vote away on Triss. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, for Ben to take a look at this from Ben's perspective, he's Ben and Ant are in a no-win situation. If you're in the
Yeah.
unless they go to the end with each other at this point. But basically, they were choosing in this vote whether Crow and Craig were going to win or whether Ken and Triss were going to win.
Yeah.
Um,
That's fair, honestly.
and uh, you know, I do Kenneth going to Ben. I think you're absolutely right. Is the correct move, but I don't think Ben wasn't on his side at the start of the merge. You know, and I'm a big believer in like you need to build those bonds before you need them. You know,
Oh, 100%.
you can't just sway someone in the moment to flip to your side. You need to work a few
Yeah.
rounds ahead in order to make things actually happen.
Mm-hmm. My favorite thing is seeing like when people are swap fucked basically and then don't actually talk to the like majority alliance and then just are like, hey, you should flip on each other. Like that's never gonna work. Like you have to build that. So
Mm-hmm.
I 100% agree. It wasn't looking good there for Kenneth. There was it sucks because I did want to see one of Kenneth and Triss win, but yeah.
Yeah, they definitely had a great like Malcolm Denise thing going on. Uh, that would have been fun to see. But they were both very good players. Kenneth's idol play to save Triss and eliminate Hudson, who was one of the contenders to win, I think is probably the move of the season. In my opinion, most exciting thing that happened.
Yeah.
And it sucks to see him go. And then moving on to the final vote that we're going to talk about. I was like really interested in going fast. I wanted to get all 6 of these votes done in 45 minutes, and we did it in 25.
We did it.
We're amazing.
We're incredible. 10/10 would recommend.
Best podcast of all time.
Uh-huh.
Um, Now that Kenneth is gone and Ben has chosen to go with Craig, Ant, and Crow, it's now a 4-against-1. Triss loses immunity. There's really nothing you can do here.
There's nothing you can do. I really like I really like Triss. I think she played a very good game.
Me too.
And I she can join the 5th place club with the likes of Rich Robbie. So
Not a bad club.
and Quizzy, Rich Robbie and Quizzy.
It's a great club. Great club.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing she could do there.
Yeah,
Or, I mean, she could flaunt her fake immunity idol. Like, that's the only thing she can do there. But, like, it's not gonna work. But she can try it.
and you know, fake idol is always fun. I've never seen it like really work.
Bro,
Well,
excuse me? Hello, fake idol queen.
I did you do it in season 8 of Visionary?
Yeah, I did. 100%.
Well, oops.
It's okay.
Well, you know, I can't remember everything.
No, you can't. It's okay.
Yeah, but the fake idol doesn't work here, which is
No, it does not work here.
she did make a fun parchment for it, so we stand Triss. Mink and Maji were both very high on Triss coming into the season.
Yeah.
Reason she had a shield in Kenneth, which obviously saves her at the final 6 vote, but aligning with Bree and Cove instead of the other side, which makes sense because they were on her swap tribe. She just ended up on the losing side, and her story was too good to keep. It's sometimes, I don't want to say it's all luck. I'm sure she could have been more active in working on Ben. I mean, there's always something you could have done, but I feel like it's just such a difficult situation to be in that I'm not going to, like, blame her for mistakes, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think she played as good a game as she possibly could, and the fact that she got through the absolute decimation of her OG tribe, like, really is a testament to how good she plays.
Yeah. Honestly, anyone who, like I said in the fans versus favorite season, if you're one of the 5 people who survived that original favorites tribe, like that's a very, very impressive feat. And same situation here. The younger tribe lost 4 straight challenges, um, and then the SWAT tribe lost 3 more straight challenges. Just being able to bounce back from that, survive all of that, make it to the final 7, make it to the final
Yeah.
5. That's amazing. So Kenneth and Triss definitely both very, very good players, but like I called before, it it was too it was just too obvious, you know?
Yeah.
Like everyone knew that they had that story of being the lone survivors of the younger tribe. And that was always going to be in the back of their mind. Especially when you have
100%.
players like Crow and Craig who are
Yeah.
very just savvy.
Very aware of what makes a good FTC, I guess.
Yeah. So that takes us to our final 4, uh, which I think is a fun. Well, hmm,
Fun is an
it's
interesting
it's
definition here.
it's I don't know. It's a good final 4. I like. Well, let's just talk about them. So, like I've said before, we have Crow and Craig, who I think are personally the 2 biggest contenders.
Yeah.
Out of the 2 of them, who do you think played the better game?
Personally, I think Craig did, but only because, like, this is like me just like looking at what other people have said about him and how I think almost everyone currently still in has F2, F3 packed with Craig, and
Yeah,
currently, and like I want to say, I don't think there's really anyone bitter against that man whatsoever. And I think Crow, while playing a great game, kind of lives in Craig's shadow almost. Not in a bad way, but like simply because they simply because that's more of his play style. But
yeah.
that's just like my thought on
I
this.
I I'm still debating on which one I think played better. I think definitely you're right. Craig played a lot more visibly and like with his flipping at the start of the merge. Those
Yeah.
first 3 merge votes of him flipping back and forth with Hudson, losing Hudson, then flipping the vote back onto Bree, then rallying together with Crow to take out Kenneth and Triss. I think those are 6 straight votes of Craig playing very well,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot more active, whereas Crow sort of just stuck to his side and eliminated people ahead of him. So kind
Mm-hmm.
of when I compared it, Crow reminds me a lot of Mufasa's game in Fans versus
Yeah.
Fans, in the sense that she was just in a good like totem pole position in her alliance, and same with Crow, and they both just sort of played very clean. Like I don't think Crow has had a vote cast against him in the merge, so I think both have played very, very good games, very, very good games. But I agree. I think
Honestly,
Craig would get more votes.
yeah. I I'm debating whether it's in Craig's best interest to do we know, is it F2 or is it F3? Do we know?
I think it's final 2 because
Okay.
who just won the final 4? I think Ben. Ben won the final 4 immunity.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
Uh,
goodbye. Not goodbye, Aunt.
a numbers game. Start this challenge. Maybe they haven't finished it yet. I don't know.
Let me check the beach real quick.
Don't mind. Oh, Craig.
Didn't
Craig
Craig
won.
win? Yeah.
Craig won the final four immunity.
Yeah. So honestly, I feel like in this situation, Craig should vote out Crow if he can, whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. What I was gonna say is
because then he wins. There is no way he does not win, unless he. Well, no, unless he loses and one of the and Ant or Ben decides to grow a brain and is like, we should vote out Craig. Then that's how Craig loses. If
yeah.
Craig takes Crow, he at least like the one who makes it through of Ben and Ant knows they won't win.
Mm-hmm.
And is guaranteed FTC though. So there's two sides to that.
Yeah. It's if Craig is confident in his challenge ability, eliminating Crow, who's his biggest competition, is definitely a good win-in situation. If he can convince Ben and Ant to do that. Uh, Ben and Ant are sort of the kingmakers here. Neither of them have spoken about this vote in their confessional yet, so that's fun. Uh, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what Craig tries to do here. I think it's sort of a win-win. Both situations are pretty good. They both have flaws, obviously. Like you said, if he's in the final three and doesn't win that final immunity, I feel like it's difficult for Ant and Ben to justify taking him to the final tribal council. But at the same time, if he takes Crow to the final three, I'm not sure I think he needs to win the final three immunity either way.
The thing about Ant though, and I don't know what type of game he's attempting to play here, but like Ant will take you to FTC to lose, like if he likes you. I don't know like what he's attempting to do here, but like in the game I played with him, he was willing to take people to FTC and lose to them, which like is a that's a hashtag no for me, dog. Like I have this motto that I won't sit in an FTC that I won't win. Which I don't know is actually if it's a good strategy or not, but like that's just like my thoughts on the matter. But Ant is different, and I think genuinely likes Craig, given the fact that they are. I mean, they have a lot of things in common, according to multiple confessionals. So I could see Ant maybe taking Craig.
That's
But
good insight.
I will say if he doesn't take Craig and Craig doesn't win final immunity and decides to take Ben, then he wins. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think he wins against Ben, maybe, probably. Which would be a great. That would be an interesting story, my friend. That would be an interesting story.
It would be a weird end to this season.
It would be fitting, I would say.
Yeah. I think so. Crow in his confessional is currently talking about how Ant and Craig plan to take each other potentially.
That seems very legit to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so he's worried about that. So he's thinking about voting with Ben to get rid of Ant currently.
Interesting.
So that is unless he says he's skeptical that Ben might be trying to trick him, but this is an interesting final four vote. I think there's definitely two. I'd say the power ranking of like likely winners is Craig 1, Crow like 1A, and then Ant, and then an Ant Ben final tribal council I think would be interesting. I think Ant would win.
I also do, man. Like, I think he can. I didn't see his FTC in Essential, but like, he's smart enough to write a good argument, and
Yeah.
that's that. Yeah, that's interesting. It would be interesting if it was a tie, or that would be so funny. Actually, I would laugh if
Yeah.
it was a tie between Aunt Ben or Aunt Crow.
Get to see some
F4 wheel.
fire.
Here we go, baby.
That I'd take it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Uh,
Honestly, I would say that a wheel between Crow Ben would benefit Craig the most. Like
yeah.
that would honestly benefit Craig probably more than choosing, because he can talk his way out of either one, basically.
Yeah, if he can swing that, that would be pretty impressive. It'd be. This is a very complex Final Four, so interesting stuff. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will see.
Uh,
Is the vote coming in now?
is it?
Like in 7 minutes? That would be pretty fun. Wait 7 minutes, see what the votes are. I guess like tribal councils take a while, you know.
Yeah, I think probably we.
We should probably get off.
Yeah.
Or we could get off and come back on. Great ideas.
We could do a tribal special.
Tribal special F4. Yeah.
That'd be whack. Yeah, but do you have any final? Do you have thoughts on the season as a whole that we haven't covered yet? Any?
As a whole, my girl Jess was robbed.
Nice.
I mean, I don't actually think she was robbed, but I do want to see her play again. Because I think you can always learn from your past mistakes, hypothetically, unless you're me and still have a goat fixation 4 orgs out. What can I say? But yeah, I think this season was like, it showed a lot of different dynamics that I haven't seen in orgs, but definitely exist in like IRL Survivor, that I have, like the extreme pagonging, because I feel like everyone in orgs are just like kind of against the extreme pagonging on some level, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
No one's really willing to just like sit around and do it. People are always like trying to make moves, but when it just happens through challenges, there's no way to
Yeah.
really. But
Yeah.
I mean, credit to Crow pre-merge for getting rid of the 3 straight young people tribes on his swapped tribe. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say this was a good season.
Good.
It's pretty good. Pretty solid. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here with me today, Epoxy, even though no one else would be.
At Rich Robbie, this is a call out.
I had a good time.
I had a good time too, despite my lewdness and my sound effects.
Yes. No, I like it. It's good.
Thank you.
Really added to the experience.
Yeah.
Well,
this is the end. Jiggity jig.
Oh fuck. What I wanted to do is I wanted to come up with like a good sign out for this podcast. I tried to come up with one with Maji last week, and they were all super cringy. Do you have any good ideas for how I should sign out end the podcasts?
I mean, I have an idea, but it's mostly a jab at me. Hashtag rock on.
Hashtag rock on.
Yeah. Maybe not with the hashtag. I feel like that's pretty cringe. Another good one.
They're all pretty cringe.
Yeah.
Stay saucy. No, that's terrible. Nothing to do with anything.
May the votes be ever in your favor.
Yeah, let's stick with that. All right, that'll be a good one for now. All right, thank you guys for listening, and may the votes be ever in your favor. Peace out.